I would still recommend the 2 to 3 day transit time especially for genomics. But in general, it's not as convoluted as it needs to be. We get a lot of people that will send in a sample for Haney, and then they'll pull a separate sample for T&D and pull a separate sample for P. Please don't do that. I mean, we'll process them the same, but save yourself the shipping costs, save yourself the sampling effort, the time. Just pull a single sample. We can run all of those tests off a single bag.
Yeah, the neat thing that we've been discovering over the last several years that I didn't even know about was the Total Soil Digestion.
Yeah.
And that's been a huge eye-opener to a lot of farmers. And that's something you specialize in here at this lab.
Yeah.
In fact, when we suggest it, we have the guys suggest, hey, do all 3 tests, Haney, beet crop, Total Soil Digestion. That way you have a whole lot more data to go off of to make decisions on your farm.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Total Nutrient Digest, or T&D, so I mentioned earlier about the warehouse, right? Well, T&D is like taking an inventory of every single thing in that warehouse. The stuff that's in the back closet, the stuff that's on the top shelf, the box that's been collecting dust for 100 years, you're trying to, or think of it like looking at your net worth. So if you do a financial evaluation of your operation and you evaluate your net worth. Now, it doesn't mean that if your net worth is $30 million, you have access to $30 million. The Haney test is then designed to look at what is fluid. What is a fluid asset? Or in other words, what's on the bottom 2 shelves of the warehouse? What's the stuff that we can access really easily and we see it because it's right here in eye of sight? So that is what we're evaluating, 2 different parts of that system. The reason for T&D is because we've been told for such a long time that the only thing we have in this warehouse is what we can see right here. So when we measure phosphorus and we say there's 20 parts per million, or 45 pounds roughly, we look at that and go, this is all we have. Well, no. We've got a whole bunch of phosphorus up here on this shelf and over here next to calcium, and we've got phosphorus over here with iron and aluminum. And so understanding what you've got answers one of those questions for you as to, hey, if I've got all of this, the next logical question is, how do I get it down? How do I get it off that shelf? How do I use it, right? And then we start to lead into that distribution team again. The microbes are what does it. The other way it's used is that we're often told that if you start reducing the fertilizer you're applying, that you're mining, right? So you'll hear this test referred to as a mining assay. So it's something that you can do year 1, and then you make your adjustments for fertilizer programs based on what's available on the Haney side. And then you are coming back 3 years, maybe 4 years later, depending on how aggressive you are on your cutback, and you're saying, am I mining all this P and K? Am I mining all this sulfur? You can look at that and actually, instead of somebody just saying, well, yeah, of course you are. If you didn't put it on, you're mining it. Now, over time, in 0 input systems, are we mining? Of course we are. Then the question is, well, how long can I do that? A lot of times people think it's a 12-month, right? I have to put it all on to grow this crop in 12 months.
Yeah. Horizon's down deeper too. So absolutely. You measure down to 24 inches.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great point. So Al's talking about sampling depth, right? Now for Haney tests, for T&D, for genomics, I mean, you're talking 6 inches, 0 to 6. You're focused on biology, and most of your biology is in the top 6, top 3 inches even. So yes, there are microbes down deep. Yes, there is. If you're growing corn roots to 7 feet, there's water there. There's oxygen there. There has to be. There's microbes there. The roots won't grow if they're not. But where T&D really becomes eye-opening is that if you've got corn roots going down to 7 feet and you're testing the top 6 inches, Well, what if you ran, we've had people do this, they run T&D 0 to 12, 12 to 24, 24 to 48, 48 all the way down to 72 or something like that, And they're not doing this on every acre. They're not doing it every year. It's too hard to pull and it's too expensive. That's not the point. But the point is that you look at that whole profile and you start looking at calcium and phosphorus and potassium. I get so tired of people telling me that I've got a potassium problem because I don't have any. And you do that and you go, there's 20,000 pounds of potassium on average in the top 6 feet. Your corn roots are there. So it's not a limitation of resource, it's a limitation of availability and transport, right? And so again, we see iron chlorosis all the time, high pH soils. And they'll say, well, I don't have any iron. Well, your soils are made up of 3 primary things: iron, aluminum, and silica. Aluminum is there to make it toxic all the time. It's pH driven. Iron is there to be available or not, it's pH driven. So if you're in that situation and you're seeing that iron chlorosis and then somebody says, well, here, put on this dry product and go put 10 pounds of iron on across your soil, you've already got 100,000 plus pounds of iron in the top 6 inches. You're putting 10 pounds on thinking it's going to be available. I don't care what it's chelated with or what it looks like. It might be available for a very short term. But now you're just going to buy it every year. You're better off in a foliar program in those cases because your pH is going to drive the availability of those types of nutrients. So that deep depth on that 0 to 48 or 24, I mean, looking at T&D again, it's a real eye opener because it shows you just what you have in that acre of soil to whatever depth you're getting roots to. It really shows you that warehouse.